What is peaceful coexistence? Peaceful coexistence is the ability to live together in peace and harmony, irrespective of religion, ethnicity, color, and race. Peaceful coexistence means that we are living together because there is something that binds all of us together, and that is humanity. This humanity is what God has given to us as our creator. God created us in his image and likeness. So that is what we mean by peaceful coexistence.
Okay. What situations now in Nigeria have given rise to the need for us to preach this peaceful coexistence?
Well, in the first place, the need to preach peaceful coexistence is not just because of what is happening now. Right from the beginning, God created us as biological beings. That is why God, even in the act of creation, said, let us. Even God communicated with Adam and Eve in dialogue. And, God is the author, the origin of dialogue. So because of that, there is need for us to talk together. We have forms of dialogue. We have dialogue of life, where we do things together. We go to the same market, go to the same office. Dialogue of religious experience, where we share our experiences of what God is doing for us because of what we believe and to who we believe. Dialogue of encounter. We have issues, the ability to come together to talk about it. We have dialogue of theological exchange, where experts come together to talk. Then we have dialogue of friendship. We talk together because we are friends. We make the world a happy place to live in. But what is happening now? You see, religion has suffered in the hands of manipulated manipulators. Many of our leaders, our political leaders, have used religion and ethnicity to divide us. Through indoctrination, brainwashing, they use our youth to cause violence. And of course, you know that, for example, like the killings we are having today, I'm sure you know the origin of terrorism in Nigeria. Terrorism took off not just in 2002 when Boko Haram officially started, but from the beginning, some parents, some religious leaders have been telling their children, using hate speech. Some, for example, telling that the person in the other religion is not good enough, we can't live with a person. Let me give you a concrete example here. Muhammad Yusuf had a group of followers, and they were used by the then governor of Borno State for electoral purposes. And after that, what now happened? This Muhammad Yusuf, after the elections, was not given what he was promised. So he started attacking government installations, fighting the police. He was not out to fight churches. Even though the person following him, they were trying to cause, terrorism. They wanted to use the kind of tactics to cause religious war. But unfortunately, Muhammad Yusuf was killed extrajudicially. And that is, after that, the terrorist activities in Nigeria took a different turn. when the church in Mandela was bombed. This church in Mandela was bombed, and since then, the terrorists have been trying to attack churches, religious institutions, so that there will be religious crisis. But by the grace of God, the Christians and the Muslims, through dialogue, we have been able to come together to talk about the need for peaceful coexistence. The Muslims have come out to openly say that the terrorists are not Muslims, that a terrorist cannot be a Muslim, and a Muslim cannot be a terrorist. But the terrorists themselves, they have the ideology which they claim they derive from the Quran, and they emphasize the verses of the Quran that talks about go and fight. Go and fight. But the Muslims have told us that, for example, the Prophet of Islam gave freedom of religion. And of course, in the Quran, chapter 5, they told us, if you kill one person, that is in Islamic ideology now, if you kill one person, it's as if you have killed the whole world. And if you save one person, it's as if you have saved the whole world. But here, what is the difference between this ideology and the ideology of Jesus Christ? In the Old Testament, there are also verses that talk about war. But Christ came that we may have life and have it abundantly. John chapter 10, verse 10. And that is why Christ did not kill anybody. And after he has suffered, after all his work at the resurrection, he proclaimed peace. Peace be upon you. And gave us the mandate to evangelize and make sure that there is peace in the world. Referencing Isaiah 61, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to give good tidings to the poor, to proclaim the year of favor, to open the eyes of the blind, to open the ears of the deaf. And he went as far as even raising the dead like Lazarus to life. So today, why are we having all these problems? Why are there so many churches, pastors preaching, and many mosques? For me, I think it's the failure of government. If Nigeria's system was working, if we have facilities, if we have jobs for our graduates, I don't think there will be so many people who want to go and start churches and sects to make money. So what is going on today that is calling for peaceful coexistence is the failure of government. But I want to say here that people have accused us, because I've been in dialogue for 27 years now, that the dialogue is not working. But then the Christians and the Muslims who are dialoguing, we are not having arms. We cannot go out and fight. It is the government that is entrusted with the responsibility of security. That is why in dialogue, we're trying to talk truth to power. If the government is doing what they should do, the leaders are doing what they should do, then we should be able to come out of this. In 2015, the president promised that he would provide security, he will end terrorism. But just yesterday, our 2 priests have been killed in Benue State, in Makurdi Diocese. And these are the same people who are proclaiming the message of peace. 70 people were killed right in the church. Now, who are the people? They will say the alleged gunmen, the unknown gunmen. It is, when do we know these people? Now, if you could see that in a way, the government is aiding and abetting terrorism when they give ransom to the terrorists to release captives. If they can negotiate with the terrorists, why can't that means the government know who the terrorists are. So if they can negotiate and give them money, then they know who they are. Why can't they arrest them and bring them to justice? So this is the problem. So what we are facing through today, it is only the government that can stop these killings, because they know the killers if they don't know who the terrorists are, they will not be able to pay them ransom to release some of the Chibok girls. They will not be able to pay the ransom to release some of the Dapchin girls. And now, the Leah is still behind because he's a Christian. And this is what the terrorists want, to create religious disharmony so that we can have religious crisis. Peace is flowing like a river. Peace is the prerogative of every human being, because every human being wants to live in peace and harmony. What is the opposite of peace? Conflicts. We have intrapersonal conflicts. That is when your heart is not at peace and you cannot do anything good. So you need that kind of intrapersonal recollection to put yourself together. As a woman, if you don't have peace of mind, you will even have problem of infertility. You cannot bring children into the world. And of course, when the heart is disturbed, when you are not at peace, then that will now manifest in interpersonal conflict. And of course, there is intra-community conflict, conflict within the community, inter-community conflict, intra-religious conflict, that a particular religion, they can have intra-religious crisis, like we are having now with, the Shiite recently, the youth, they came out and they were demonstrating against the government. You can also have intra-church, and that is why you have ecumenical dialogue. So here, what do? Like, if you read my book, Dialogue in Context, I talk so much about intra-religious dialogue. Discuss among yourself. Discuss within yourself in the religion so that you can prepare, for example, the Christians. We have to prepare ourselves to be able to communicate peace. The Muslims go and do the same thing. Now, what we have in this country today is that if a Christian is a president, they see the nation as a Christian nation. If a Muslim is a president, we see the nation as a Muslim nation. Today, if you say anything against this government, you will see that some Muslims will attack you, as if you have said something against the Prophet of Islam, which is not supposed to be so. But I can tell you that we have a lot of sincere Muslims who are talking, and of course many Muslims too have died in the hands of the terrorists, and there are a lot of Christians who are talking. Even though they are telling us that dialogue has failed, and that if dialogue is working, this killing will stop. But I want to tell you that it would have been worse. It would have been worse if there was no dialogue at all. But what we need today is let everybody has a responsibility to proclaim peace, whether you are a Christian or you are a Muslim. Let us cash on the humanity that has brought us together. In dialogue, we talk about Abraham as our common father. Nigeria is, in the state of Nigeria now, is so terrible that many people don't believe in dialogue anymore because we think it's not working. And we must be ready to confront government to say, give us the security. That is your primary responsibility. Take it, for example, where we are the security agent in the House of Assembly, when 5 people went in to destabilize the meeting and take the maids away. So if that security apparatus in the House of Assembly can be broken, then me and you, we are not safe. So whose responsibility now to talk about peace? Is it me and you that we are hiding our heads? Now, the politicians, they go around with police, mobile soldiers, and some of these our security agents even carry the handbags of their wives. They, but the common man, you, me, the Reverend Father, the civil servant, who is there to protect them? And of course, Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. So since we have no security, we wait on God. If the past generals, retired generals, are now talking about self-defense, that we should defend ourselves, then the big question that you ask me, who is supposed to proclaim peace? You can see that the question is as deep as the ocean.
Father, has it always been like this in the past? Because I've been wondering, how has it been?
Yes.
Generation to generation. Can you share good experiences you've had in the past, so that at least we can reflect on those good experiences?
How has it been in the past?
Yes.
Now, I want to divide Nigeria into two. The West, that is the South, and the North. I'm from Edo State. When I was growing up, I grew up in a family. My maternal grandfather was a Muslim. My maternal uncle was a chief imam. Now, my grandfather, who was a Muslim, who for me is an idea of what a Muslim should be, was able to give out my mother in marriage to my father, who was not a Muslim. And we live in peace and harmony. When I was in secondary school, the Muslim youths came to say they want to build a mosque in our college, Fatima College, Our Lady of Fatima College, a Catholic school, and the Reverend Father was a principal. They had a big luncheon. Christians contributed. But those of us who were students who could not contribute, we helped manually carrying blocks to build a church in Fatima College. Now in the North, how many institutions, universities, have churches in the North, the university? In the West, among the Yorubas, in the same family, you have Christians, Muslims, you have all people of different religion living together. From the beginning, it has not been like that. But some of our dialogue partners in the North have told us, especially some of our Muslim women, Muslim men who attended Catholic school. Take, for example, the Emir of Kano. The Emir of Kano, Sanusi, attended a Catholic school. In fact, each time he's talking and he's quoting the Bible, I am really amazed. These were people who benefited. So it was not always like this. It is true that the type of Islam that entered the North through the jihad of Uthman and Fodio was violent. So it is, but even at that, many of them still believe that we can live together. But there are issues here. Some of my friends in the far North have told us that for some fanatics, who I will call, these terrorist activities, like I have in this book, Dialogue in Contest, If This Song Did Not Exist. Children, the family. So it has generated to what we have today, intolerance. Terrorism started from intolerance. We are not able to cope with one another. Today in the North, to get a piece of land to build a church is a problem. And of course, I'm sure in the East, it is also going to be difficult to get a piece of land to build a mosque. So we have come to this level. It is only this last week there was an agreement signed by the Vatican, Pontifical Council for Interreligious Dialogue, and Saudi Arabia to allow a church to be built in Saudi Arabia. Yet, the king of Saudi Arabia is the one who started Qaisid. That is King Ibn Abdullah, that the Christians and Muslims should come together. They sponsor religious programs. For example, we had a interreligious dialogue workshop in Austria, in Vienna. These guys sponsor over 600 candidates. They pay for our flight, pay for hotel accommodation and feeding. But the big question is, where is this taking us to? Just this morning, as we were talking in our platform on dialogue, one of the priests said, "You are going to NTA to talk." The one, Mission and Dialogue, somebody said, "Has this dialogue worked? They are still killing our people. Now they have killed our priest. I told them that is exactly why I'm going to NTA, to tell them that even though we are making our little effort, the government is not allowing our dialogue to work because they are not able to arrest. They are not able to arrest the terrorists they pay ransom to. Before I can negotiate with you in marketing, I should know you. I should know you. So if they are able to negotiate with the terrorists, then they know them. Why can't they bring them to book? Instead of allow our soldiers to be dying and to be killed. And of course, you know that the fight of the terrorists is like it's a guerrilla warfare. It's not a conventional war. Face me and face you. They come like a thief in the night and strike and go back. So maybe, I don't know. But from my own experience, I think it has not always like this. And it is like this today because we have a failed government in power. So we are talking about peace building, isn't it? We are talking about dialogue. So here you are now taking me to intercultural and interethnic dialogue. So now, in the East, I used to think that the whole of the East is homogeneous, that there can be no conflict between the Anabarians, those who are from Anambra, those who are from Imo, those who are from Enugu. But the reality on ground today has shown us that it is not true. So what is the cause? And people think that when you don't speak the same language, that is when you have conflict. It's not true. Go to Rwanda. The Hutus and the Tutsis. The genocide. Did they speak different languages? No. You see, even in our ethnicity, our ancestors had a way of bringing us together. Traditionally, in those days, in every village in Nigeria, let me tell you, there is what they call the age grade system. In a village, you know the thieves in the village. You know the good people in the village. If there is a thief in the village, the community tell the age grade, go and look for the person. They bring the person to book. But today, before I come to what is happening today, those days, in your family, in the tribe, in Edo State, in all the states in Nigeria, if somebody your daughter brings in some kind of money, you ask your daughter, where did you get this from? That was what. Return this to where you come from. If it brings a car, oh my God, where did you get money to buy this car? But what do we do today? Somebody has gone out to steal. He come with the money and spread and started giving the money to the kings. Those days, kings don't come out. The Ogineni of Uzarwe, I saw him only once when I was growing up. But what we have today, these same kings give chieftaincy titles to armed robbers, to thieves. But why we call these robbers, the people call them chief, but God knows that they can just remove the C and incite T. They are thieves. So the society too, the traditional setting has failed also. Not just the political setting. Why is it that in the north, those who are extremists, those who are killing, they know them. You know the story, of course, the media, what is good news is not good news in the media, you know that. A man in the north, the son came home, he had joined the terrorist group, came home with a huge amount of money. Huge amount of money. Oh, daddy, I've come to better your life. The man kept quiet. He knew that something has gone wrong. You know what he did? He took that boy and gave to the GTF, gave to the soldiers. Of course, the boy was summarily dealt with. How many traditional settings today are ready to deliver their children who are criminals to justice? So, this is the reason. Then, look at the state I come from, Edo State, during the time of Anini. Oh, Anini has power to disappear. Anini can disappear. He has... Who was the charm that he was using? The Commissioner of Police. Oh, God. Nigeria will hate it. I don't know if this means anything to you. So, even the kidnapping we are having today, is it not because our traditional settings have failed? Is it not because many of these youths who are kidnapping, they are graduates. Oh. They are graduates, jobless graduates. They don't have work. But today, our guys told us that they are lazy. Lazy. And you know the comment that I've gone with this. So because our youth are lazy, that is why they can use a bike that is so expensive to go and have accident. Because they have nothing doing. They are loitering around the whole place. And that is the symbol of the Nigeria youth who is jobless.
Okay, now let's advise to the young people. Election is coming, so advise the youth.
Election 2019. My advice to the youth. Youth, please, don't allow anybody to use you and dump you. If a politician tells you to come and rig election, tell him that he should go and bring his family. Tell the person to go and bring his children from overseas, from Europe, from America, from Latin America, from wherever the children are. Let them come and take the lead. Now, if we have a bad government and we had a credible election, it means we brought whatever is happening to us today upon ourselves. So you too, go and get your PVC. Elections are coming. Vote for somebody that have a historical past. Somebody you know that in the past is antecedents. Like Futishin would say, when a reverend father stands at the pulpit to preach, before he opens his mouth, the sermon is already preached. The reason is simple. Action speak louder than words. So youth, don't allow anybody to use you. Don't become a manipulator. You have now seen that the education that you were promised, look at our schools today. You were promised jobs. You were promised that you'll be given money. Look at in America, for example, even if you are not working, you have the security scheme takes care of you. In the past, the generation that is killing us now, when they were in the university, they had only one problem when they are youth corpers, the problem of choice. As they are finishing NYSC, a car is waiting for them. 3-bedroom flat is waiting for them. This is the same generation that is still ruling us. Let them take us back to the old days so that we can enjoy like them. Youth, take note of this and vote wisely as the elections are knocking at the door. Make sure you register. Don't allow anybody to disenfranchise you. No, don't allow that to happen. You must say no to injustice, no to bad government, and yes to peaceful coexistence.